Hey guys, welcome back to This Week in the Premier League, a series where we discuss the biggest news and moments from each match week. Let's start off with Liverpool versus Arsenal, easily the biggest game of the week, and it ended 3-1 to Liverpool. Starting off in the first half, Liverpool were very dominant all over Arsenal in terms of they had the ball in their half in relatively dangerous areas, but Arsenal were able to push Liverpool back, and by that I mean they were able to get numbers behind the ball and really kind of stop major damage from taking place. They were able to keep Liverpool in front of them and did a decent job defending. They would try and hit counterattacks to Pepe, who did get in behind Van Dijk and had a great opportunity on goal, but just scuffed it by trying to get it right onto his left foot. So Arsenal started off solid, but Liverpool, you could tell, were the better side, especially playing at Anfield with the crowd, with the energy. It felt like it was Liverpool's game. And eventually they did break before the half and get a goal. Then coming into the second half, we had major questions to be asked of David Luiz as he made a rash decision and grabbed Mo Salah's jersey. And it's just super questionable. It's that classic David Luiz. He's very solid, shows that he is a great defender with his positioning at points in the game, but always tends to make this one rash just decision that's not necessary. Mo Salah, although was getting in behind him, wasn't in a dangerous area near the goal, and it's just like, what are you doing? Anyways, Liverpool again dominate, get a third and final goal, and then Arsenal sub on Lacazette, and I'm like, okay, let's see how this goes. And as I expected, Lacazette started to make Arsenal better. They started to create more opportunities. They looked like they were coming into the match a little more. They looked more comfortable in the attack. And it's just like, why wasn't he on the pitch to begin with? Like, I've always been a big fan of the Lacazette-Aubameyang link up, the way they play together. And Emery seems to never want them to play. Lacazette hardly starts any big matches against top 6 clubs, and it's just very frustrating because whenever he's on the pitch, they seem to be more dangerous, more creative, and get more opportunities. And that's what happened, and eventually Arsenal were able to score a goal. So it ended 3-1, and I wouldn't call this game like a beatdown of Arsenal or anything like that. I think it was just the better team won. The better, more dominant team won the match, deservingly. In terms of each team moving forward, I think Liverpool need to carry the momentum. They've been playing excellent this season, and I think they just need to carry that energy and momentum, and I think they're very focused on their goal of winning the league. And as long as they stay focused, I think they can do very well, and I'm very impressed by how they're playing. In terms of Arsenal, though, you're going to have to see Emery needs to make some changes in terms of the back line. We need to see some more consistency there. David Luiz is prone to these errors. There's not many replacements, but he has to tweak it. Hopefully Kieran Tierney coming back soon will help their cause. In terms of other things, tactically, Lacazette, you need to find a way to get your best players in the lineup. So Lacazette, Aubameyang, and Pepe all need to be in the lineup at once in order for Arsenal to be their most dangerous. And then also you saw players like Ceballos, who were excellent the week before, still adjusting to the Premier League, still adjusting to the pace and the quality of a Liverpool team. It's completely different playing against just your mid-table team compared to Liverpool, and I don't think he was quite up for it. So just getting those kind of players, the newer players, adjusted to the level of the Premier League. Anyways, it was a great match to watch, and I was impressed by the level of play. Let's move on to now Newcastle versus Spurs. And this was an excellent game in terms of very good play, and I was surprised. I thought it was going to be beat down by Spurs. They're going to beat down Newcastle, but it ended up being Newcastle winning 1-0 away, and I was very impressed. Their defensive discipline was sensational. Steve Bruce, someone who has been mugged off by Newcastle fans, by me, by plenty of people for his quality of a manager, showed a side today that was very just defensively organized, and they were able to get a goal from Joe Linton, their new signing. I was impressed by the goal. It showed class, it showed technique, it showed precision, and it showed composure. I thought it was a great goal, and after that, Newcastle executed the game plan perfectly. In terms of Spurs, I saw a lack of creativity, right? No Ndembele this week. Eriksen came on late, and Spurs had the ball in dangerous areas. They're playing in Newcastle's defensive third, Spurs attacking third, that's where most of the game was being played, and yet they couldn't get a ball into the box. Danny Rose was having trouble crossing balls in, and it was just like, where's the creativity here? How are we going to break them down? And in the end, they weren't able to. Harry Kane didn't really get many great opportunities. As much as the ball they had in that area, they weren't actually able to do anything with it. And it was, as someone who had picked Spurs to be very good this season, these are the kind of things that win and lose title races. And you go from tying City last week, great result, to losing to Newcastle at home. So big questions have to be asked there. Where's the creativity? Pochettino's always seems to be able to adapt mid-game, and he wasn't able to make any sort of changes that would really switch up the game. Even inserting Eriksen didn't help Spurs' case that much. So I would just say props to Newcastle, someone who I last week shredded in terms of saying they would potentially go down, and I was impressed by their performance. Not saying this changes how I felt last week, but I do have to give Steve Bruce credit where it's due. And in terms of Spurs, where's the creativity? Who's it going to come from and why? And Dembele is super important to their side, so I need to see him playing more. In terms of, let's go to our next match. We have Chelsea versus Norwich. Very good match, super fun and exciting to watch, lots of goals. Ended 3-2 Chelsea. They're playing at Norwich, and I was impressed by both sides, right? Norwich, you don't think they would stand a chance against a big club like Chelsea, but they did. Again, Pukki, excellent. He's becoming one of my favorite players, just the way he moves, smart. He's very, very, very good, and I was massively impressed by the way he played. He once again had an assist and a goal, so that was very good. In terms of Chelsea, Tammy Abraham, just a couple weeks, missed the penalty in the Super Cup and comes out and scores 2 goals. So I think that's a very good sign in terms of just showing mentality. Young players don't often respond well, and he did respond. So super impressed by Tammy Abraham's performance. Chelsea, they shouldn't be scraping by to beat Norwich, but they did get the result. I think it's good for their young core. And in a must-win game, they did get the win, so I think they should be happy with it. They did create more opportunities, but it was a pretty even game. In terms of Norwich and Chelsea were both getting shots on target, getting in dangerous areas on the pitch. So I feel like it kind of it's just like Chelsea needs to raise their level a bit, but you're starting to see this young core mesh a little more, as we saw towards the end of this game. And Tammy Abraham's goals were both very, very impressive. The volley, that's a special kind of player who can hit that volley. And then the second one where he dribbles a little more nifty, gets a touch inside, and then back across the face of the goal. Excellent goal. So props to Chelsea as well, and congratulations to Chelsea fans on their first win. I know I've been very critical of you guys, but I'm impressed. Let's move on to United versus Palace, and I am going to be shredded in the comments for all the mess I was talking about Chelsea last week and how I was backing United. And United lose 2-1 to Palace at home. Very frustrating. As a United fan, there was times I wasn't necessarily mad with how United played overall, right? We looked dangerous. We were actually getting very good opportunities in and around the box, and it was really just finishing the play. We weren't able to get that final pass off or that shot off that we needed to score a couple more goals, right? We got into dangerous areas, very creative play, nice little 1-2s, quick passing in and around the box to get a player free, but we never had the composure, the precision, the finesse to make that final pass or get that final shot off to score another goal. And that was frustrating because it shows a lack of quality and composure to finally, once you do all the hard work, to put the ball away. Speaking of composure, Rashford missed the penalty, and once again, there's not much to say about it, right? I could be ranting.
What the fuck were you doing, Rashford?
It's not worth it. It really isn't worth it to get on him about it. It happened. It wasn't a bad hit like Pogba's. It was a decent hit. A little unlucky with the way it hit the post, and you know what, he should be stepping up and making those at this point in his career, but he didn't. So other than that, I thought Rashford played decent. In terms of the backline, horrendous this week. We had been giving loads of praise to the backline and Harry Maguire. The first goal, bad positioning by Maguire. Lindelof goes up for a header. It gets flicked on, and Maguire's just pulled way too wide. He's way out here, and here's Lindelof. He should be a little more dropped in behind him. And that was just kind of, where were you? Like, were you thinking? Were you engaged in the match? Not really. Then the second goal, I mean, De Gea, we've got to ask questions there, right? Not of De Gea overall, but come on, he should be saving that. So realistically, United should have probably gotten another goal at the pen, should have, with all the opportunities they had, scored another, and then shouldn't have conceded if they were really, I don't know what to say. It's just like, it's frustrating. And Ole, I like the way they're playing. They're fun to watch, but it's the little things. It's the finishing. It's the being engaged for 90 minutes. The final pass, the final tackle, finishing the play, really, end product. Those are the things we're not seeing, and it's going to be a long season if we don't see improvement. So that was a must-win match, especially at home. And United dropped points, and right, these are the kind of things that a top 4 team would succeed in, and United aren't succeeding in them right now. So this doesn't change quick. In terms of top 4, like we're talking, it's going to be very hard. So in terms of Palace, right, they weren't great. They were clearly the worst team, but when it came to it, they got the end product. They finished when they had the opportunity. Both of them got shots on target, took advantage of the opportunities they were given during the match. So that is a great sign, and good goal from Ayew, great run and good finish. Anyways, let's move on to our final match of the week. It was Bournemouth versus Manchester City. As expected, Manchester City dominated possession with over 75%, and they ended up winning 3-1. But it was closer than the scoreline leads on, right? City were good, but Bournemouth, once again, were very organized, and I have to give praise to Eddie Howe for the way they played, because although they would drop numbers behind the ball, and when they would counter fast, and they would be lethal on the counter and put City in spots of difficulty, because with the way City get their fullbacks forward and they fly numbers forward, oftentimes they're caught out on the counter attack. And Bournemouth were excellent, like very good at using City's numbers forward to their benefit, and then would take advantage of it. And that's how they scored their goal. And in terms of City, you know what? They didn't have necessarily their most pretty or brilliant match in terms of, let's connect 12 passes and get this goal. But they scored when they needed to. Aguero kind of put the game away with his tap-in, little toe poke into the back of the net. And sometimes that's how you have to win a game, and that's what champions do. So it was once again impressive by City to see them really have that end product and score when it counted. Like, that was impressive. I was impressed by that, because City, even when teams put 10 behind the ball, they always have that quality, that class, that composure to be able to break them down, get that final ball off, that final pass off, and then get in the back of the net. So that was impressive. Also, on another note, Raheem Sterling scored his 5th goal of the season. He's on an absolute tear. Very impressive. And I think he's having his best season ever. So congratulations to Raheem. I think we're going to end it there. It's a really great week in terms of high-scoring games. There wasn't many major, huge matches, but each match counts is a big chunk of where you'll finish. And especially, people pay attention to these major matches between like the big clubs, but it's often when the big clubs play the smaller clubs and then come up short is where title races are won and lost, not necessarily the head-to-head games. So anyways, thank you guys so much for watching this video. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe. Follow me on Instagram at the Fergie Time Podcast. And let me know in the comments what your favorite moment from this match week was. All right, thank you and take it easy. Peace.